Dr. Sarah Chen stared at her computer screen in disbelief. The signal patterns she was seeing couldn't be random. After 15 years at the SETI Institute, she had finally found something real. "Tom, come look at this," she called to her colleague. Dr. Thomas Martinez hurried over, his coffee cup forgotten on his desk. His eyes widened as he looked at the repeating patterns. "It's not coming from any of our satellites?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. Sarah shook her head. "I've checked 3 times. This signal is coming from beyond Neptune's orbit, and it's getting stronger." Within hours, observatories around the world confirmed Sarah's discovery. The signal wasn't just random space noise. It was a message. Teams of cryptographers worked day and night to decode it, but the breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Jake Wilson, a 16-year-old amateur astronomer in Kansas, noticed that the signal's pattern matched the atomic structure of common elements. He posted his theory online, and within days, scientists realized he was right. The aliens were using the universal language of chemistry to communicate. The first decoded message was simple: "We come in peace. We have been watching. It is time." World leaders gathered in an emergency United Nations session. Military forces went on high alert. Religious leaders called for calm. And then, exactly 1 week after the first signal, they arrived. The ship appeared suddenly, materializing just beyond the moon's orbit. It was massive, 3 miles long, and shaped like a silver leaf. Smaller vessels, each the size of a football field, descended into Earth's atmosphere and positioned themselves above major cities. General Maria Rodriguez stood on the roof of the Pentagon, watching the ship hovering over Washington, D.C. Its surface rippled like liquid metal in the sunlight. "Keep all weapons locked," she ordered into her radio. "No one fires unless fired upon." The aliens called themselves the Xeraxians. They chose to make their first appearance at the United Nations, using technology that allowed them to project 3-dimensional images of themselves into the General Assembly. They were tall and elegant, with silvery skin and eyes that seemed to shift color like opals. Their ambassador, who called himself First Speaker Zilix, addressed the gathered leaders. "People of Earth," he said, his words automatically translated into every human language. "We have watched your species grow for centuries. We have seen your wars and your achievements, your cruelty and your kindness. We had hoped to wait longer before making contact, but circumstances have forced our hand." The images change, showing a vast darkness moving between the stars. An enemy approaches, one that has already consumed 1,000 civilizations. We call them the Void Collective. They do not conquer. They do not negotiate. They only destroy. Panic spread through the assembly as Xilix continued. "Earth lies in their path. Without our help, your species will be extinct within 5 years. But we offer you a chance, an alliance. We can share our technology, teach you to defend yourselves. Together, we might survive what comes." President Helen Martínez of Mexico stood up. "And what do you want in return?" Xilix's eyes shifted to a deep blue. "Only your trust and your cooperation. We need this sector of space to remain free from the Void Collective's influence. Earth is strategically valuable, and your species has shown remarkable potential." Over the next few days, debates raged in every government and on every news channel. Scientists examined the data the Xeraxians provided about the Void Collective. Military leaders studied the defensive technologies being offered. Dr. Chen found herself working directly with the aliens, studying their advanced scanning systems. "The Void Collective uses artificial wormholes to travel," a Xeraxian scientist named Vex explained. "We need to upgrade your detection systems to spot them before they arrive." But not everyone welcomed the aliens' help. Dr. Martínez discovered something odd in the signal patterns they had first detected. "Sarah," he said late one night, "look at these background frequencies. They don't match the Xeraxians' technology. It's like there's another message hidden underneath." Before he could explain further, alarms blared throughout the facility. New signals were detected, massive energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. They're early, Xylix announced to the emergency council meeting. The Void Collective has found us sooner than we predicted. Earth must decide now. Will you stand with us, or face extinction alone? The choice seemed clear. But in his lab, Dr. Martinez continued to study the hidden frequencies, convinced that the Xeraxians weren't telling them everything. The true nature of humanity's first contact with alien life was about to become much more complicated. 3 months after the Xeraxians' arrival, Earth had changed more than it had in the past 100 years. Gleaming silver towers rose in every major city, housing the alien technology that would supposedly protect humanity from the coming threat. Dr. Thomas Martinez couldn't sleep. The hidden frequencies he had discovered in the original signal kept him awake at night. He sat in his dimly lit lab, running the numbers again and again. "You're still here?" Sarah Chen asked, walking in with 2 cups of coffee. She handed him one. "It's past midnight." "Something's wrong," Tom said, pointing to his screen. "These patterns, they're like a warning, but I can't decode them completely." Before Sarah could respond, the building shook. Outside their window, a massive Xeraxian ship descended from the clouds, its surface rippling with strange lights. It was different from the others, darker, more menacing. First Speaker Xylix had called an emergency meeting at the United Nations. General Rodriguez watched from her seat as he displayed holographic images of destruction. Worlds turned to ash, civilizations wiped out. "This is what the Void Collective did to the Centauri system," Xylix said, his eyes turning a deep red. "Their tactics are always the same. First, they send scout ships. Then they release their Nano-plague that turns all technology against its users. Finally, they harvest what remains." Jake Wilson, the teenage astronomer who had helped decode the first message, was now working with the Xeraxian science team. They had recognized his talent and given him special access to their technology. "The power source is incredible," he told his new mentor, a Xeraxian named Kix. "But why does it pulse like that? It's almost like it's sending out signals." Kix's silver skin flickered slightly. "Just a normal function of our quantum core," the alien said quickly. "Now let me show you how we're upgrading Earth's defense grid." In her office at the Pentagon, General Rodriguez reviewed the latest reports. The Xeraxians had helped install defensive shields around major cities and were training human pilots to use their spacecraft. But something felt off about their tactics. "They're positioning our forces too far apart," she muttered, studying the deployment maps. "If we were attacked, we couldn't support each other effectively." Dr. Martinez's breakthrough came at 3 a.m. He stumbled into Sarah's lab, his eyes wild with excitement and fear. "I've decoded it," he said, spreading his papers across her desk. "The hidden message. It's not in any language. It's in mathematics. Pure mathematics." Sarah studied the equations. Her face went pale. "This can't be right," she whispered. "According to these numbers, the Void Collective isn't coming from where the Xeraxians said," Tom finished. "They're coming from the opposite direction. And they've been trying to warn us." Across the globe, more people began noticing discrepancies. Jake discovered that the defensive technology the Xeraxians installed was actually mapping Earth's resources. General Rodriguez realized their military training was actually weakening Earth's strategic positions. But the Xeraxians were always one step ahead. When a group of scientists in India tried to publicize their concerns, their lab mysteriously exploded. When military officers questioned the alien strategies, they were quickly reassigned. "We need proof," Sarah said during a secret meeting with Tom, Jake, and General Rodriguez. They had gathered in an old bomb shelter, away from the Xeraxians' monitoring systems, something they can't deny or cover up. Jake pulled out a small device he had built using modified Xeraxian technology. "I think I found something," he said. "They're quantum cores. They're not power sources. They're control centers, and they're building them everywhere." General Rodriguez stood up, her decision made. We have 3 days before they finish installing the last quantum core. Whatever we're going to do, it has to happen before then. Above them, the Zeraxian ships continued their patrol, their silver surfaces reflecting the sunlight. But now, their beauty seemed more threatening than magnificent. The coming storm wasn't what humanity had been warned about. It was already here, hiding in plain sight. The attack came at dawn, not from the Void Collective, but from within Earth's own atmosphere. Every Zeraxian quantum core activated at once, sending pulses of energy that disabled human communications and defense systems. "It's starting," Jake Wilson said, watching from the secret bunker where he and the others had gathered. His modified detector showed massive energy surges across the globe. But they made one mistake. They don't know about this place. General Rodriguez quickly took charge. "Dr. Martinez, what do those hidden frequencies tell us about the real Void Collective?" "They're coming," Tom said, checking his equipment. "But not as enemies. According to the message, they've been trying to stop the Zeraxians from conquering other worlds." Sarah Chen's computer suddenly lit up with new signals. "Something big just entered the solar system," she announced. "Multiple ships, but they're different from the Zeraxian vessels." Above Earth's major cities, the Zeraxian ships had changed. Their beautiful silver surfaces turned dark and threatening, revealing weapon systems that had been hidden beneath the smooth exterior. First Speaker Zalix's voice boomed across all frequencies. "People of Earth," he said, his tone no longer friendly. "Your planet is now under Zeraxian control. Resist, and your cities will be destroyed. Submit, and you may survive as our servants." But the Zeraxians hadn't counted on human preparation. For 3 days, General Rodriguez had secretly positioned loyal forces around the world. The moment the quantum cores activated, teams of soldiers and scientists moved to disable them using Jake's modified technology. "It's working," Jake shouted, watching the energy readings drop. "The cores are shutting down." In New York, London, Tokyo, and other cities, humans fought back. Military forces that had seemed scattered were actually in perfect position to strike at the Zeraxians' weak points, weaknesses that General Rodriguez had discovered during their training sessions. Then the real Void Collective arrived. Their ships were nothing like the nightmarish monsters the Zeraxians had described. They were smooth, organic-looking vessels that moved like schools of fish through space. A new voice broadcast across Earth's frequencies. It was deep and resonant, but somehow gentle. "People of Earth, we are the true Void Collective. We have come to help." In the chaos that followed, the truth emerged. The Void Collective wasn't a destructive force. They were refugees. The Zeraxians had been lying about them for centuries, using fear of the collective to manipulate other species into accepting Zeraxian protection. "Your species impressed us," the Void Collective's leader told the Emergency UN Council. "You are the first to discover our hidden warning so quickly. The first to resist the Zeraxians' control before it was too late." But the Zeraxians weren't defeated yet. Zalix ordered his ships to attack both humans and the Void Collective. The sky filled with energy beams and explosions as 3 species fought for Earth's future. In their bunker, Sarah made an important discovery. "The Zeraxian ships all connect to a central control system," she said. "If we could hack it." "We can," Jake interrupted, his fingers flying over his modified device. "Their technology isn't as advanced as they pretended. They just had better weapons. But now," he pressed a final button. Across the world, Zeraxian ships suddenly lost power. Their weapons went silent, their shields failed, and their communications died. "How?" Zalix's angry voice crackled through their speakers. "How did you defeat our control system?" "Because we never trusted you completely," General Rodriguez replied. "And we learned from everything you taught us, especially your mistakes." As the Zeraxian ships fell from the sky, the Void Collective helped Earth's forces capture them. First, Speaker Zalix and his commanders were arrested. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. The Xeraxians still control hundreds of worlds. The Void Collective's leader said, "Your species has proven itself stronger than any other they've encountered. Will you help us free the others?" General Rodriguez looked at her team, the brilliant scientists, the brave young inventor, and all the others who had fought to save Earth. They nodded as one. "We will," she said, "because that's what humans do. We fight for what's right, and we never surrender." 1 month after Earth's victory over the Xeraxians, humanity prepared for its first journey to another star system. The captured Xeraxian ships had been modified with help from the Void Collective, their sinister control systems replaced with new technology that combined human ingenuity with alien science. Jake Wilson stood in the massive hangar, staring at the ship he had helped redesign. At 17, he had become one of Earth's leading experts in alien technology. "The power systems are running at 130% efficiency," he told General Rodriguez, "better than the Xeraxians ever managed, because they relied too much on control and not enough on innovation." Sarah Chen added. She had discovered that human creativity could improve the alien technology in ways neither the Xeraxians nor the Void Collective had considered. Their first target was a planet called Nexus Prime, where the Xeraxians maintained their largest military base in this sector of the galaxy. According to the intelligence provided by the Void Collective, thousands of enslaved beings from different species were held there. "Remember," Dr. Martins said during the final briefing, "we have 3 advantages. First, they don't know we're coming. Second, we understand their technology better than they do now. And third," he smiled, "they still think humans are primitive." The Earth fleet consisted of 20 ships, each crewed by a mix of humans and Void Collective advisors. General Rodriguez commanded the flagship, renamed Defiance. As they prepared to depart, millions watched around the world. "Good luck, Maria," President Martins said during the final communication. "Show them what happens when they underestimate humanity." The journey to Nexus Prime took 2 weeks through what the Void Collective called fold space. During that time, the crews trained and prepared. They had studied the Xeraxian base's weaknesses and developed new tactics that combined human military strategy with alien technology. Jake worked with the engineering teams, making final adjustments to their secret weapon, a virus that could turn the Xeraxians' control systems against them. "It's like a computer virus," he explained to Sarah, "but it spreads through their quantum network." When they emerged from fold space, Nexus Prime's 3 suns cast strange shadows across their ships. The Xeraxian base was massive, covering half the planet's main continent. But they weren't expecting any resistance. "Begin Operation Freedom," General Rodriguez ordered. The Earth ships deployed their new stealth technology, developed by combining Void Collective organic systems with human radar-absorbing materials. They slipped past the outer defenses without being detected. Jake activated his virus from the Defiance's engineering section. Across the base, Xeraxian systems began to fail. Security doors opened. Prison force fields collapsed. Communication networks filled with confusion. "The slaves are escaping," Sarah reported, watching the sensor readings. "Thousands of them. The Xeraxians are in chaos." But the enemy wasn't defeated yet. A massive Xeraxian warship rose from the surface, its weapons charging. "You primitive fools," a commander's voice boomed. "Did you think we wouldn't have backup systems?" "No," General Rodriguez replied calmly. "We counted on it." That's when Phase 2 began. The escaped prisoners, armed with weapons Jake had designed, attacked from inside the base. The Void Collective ships emerged from hiding behind Nexus Prime's moons, and Earth's fleet revealed its final surprise. "Active the pulse," Rodriguez ordered. The human ships released waves of energy that transformed the Xeraxians' backup systems into useless metal. It was based on the quantum cores they had studied on Earth, but reversed to destroy instead of control. Within hours, the battle was over. The Xeraxian base surrendered, and thousands of prisoners were freed. Species that had been enslaved for generations looked at their human liberators with awe. "How did you defeat them so easily?" asked a tall, crystalline being who had been a slave for 300 years. Dr. Martinez answered with pride, "Because we learned from everyone, friends and enemies alike. And most importantly, we never, ever gave up." As they secured the base, news spread across the galaxy. Humanity had not only resisted the Ziraxians, they had begun to dismantle their empire. On 1,000 enslaved worlds, hope began to grow. 3 victories had made humanity confident. 6 had made them famous. After 12 successful liberations of enslaved worlds, the Ziraxian Empire began to fear the species they had once tried to conquer. In the command center of the starship Defiance, General Rodriguez studied the holographic map showing their latest target, the Ziraxian shipyards at Helios Beta. "Their defenses are stronger this time," she noted. "They're learning." "So are we," Jake Wilson replied. Now 18, he had grown taller and more confident. His latest invention gleamed on the table, a device that could turn Ziraxian energy shields into weapons. "They keep building bigger walls, but we keep finding better ways around them." Sarah Chen rushed into the room, her face excited. "The crystalline beings from Nexus Prime were right. We've detected similar energy signatures from 3 other systems. More enslaved species are starting to fight back." The news spread quickly through Earth's growing fleet, now numbering 50 ships. Humans weren't just fighting alone anymore. They were inspiring others to rise up. The Void Collective called it the Great Awakening. But the Ziraxians hadn't survived for thousands of years by being careless. They had noticed something about the human attacks. They always came from fold space, so they prepared a trap. When Earth's fleet arrived at Helios Beta, they found themselves surrounded. Ziraxian warships emerged from hiding behind the system's asteroids. Energy webs stretched between them, blocking any escape. "Surrender now," the Ziraxian admiral's voice boomed through their communications. "Your rebellion ends here." Dr. Martinez, working in his lab aboard the Defiance, smiled as he checked his readings. "Actually," he said to General Rodriguez, "they just made their biggest mistake yet. The Ziraxians had forgotten something important about humans. They were at their most dangerous when cornered." Jake's new device wasn't just for shields. When activated, it created a chain reaction through the enemy's energy web. "Now," General Rodriguez ordered. The energy web transformed, turning back against the Ziraxian ships. Their own trap became their prison. But that wasn't the only surprise humans had prepared. From the other side of the system's sun, a new fleet appeared, led by ships from the freed worlds, crystalline vessels, living ships grown by the plant-like Florins, and strange geometric crafts built by the silicon-based Geodians, all using technology improved by human innovation. "This is what you never understood," General Rodriguez transmitted to the shocked Ziraxian admiral. "We don't just fight for ourselves. We fight for everyone's freedom. And we're not alone anymore." The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. Human tactics combined with alien technology in ways the Ziraxians had never seen. Freed slaves fought alongside their liberators with a passion that couldn't be stopped. The shipyards fell. The Ziraxian fleet surrendered. And in the debris field that remained, representatives from 20 different species gathered aboard the Defiance to form something new, the Free Systems Alliance. "Humans have shown us what we forgot," the crystalline elder announced. "That true strength comes not from control, but from cooperation. Not from fear, but from hope." But amid the celebration, Sarah Chen made a disturbing discovery. In the captured Ziraxian computers, she found plans for something massive being built in their home system, something they called the final solution. "They're getting desperate," Dr. Martins said, studying the plans. "These weapons could destroy entire stars. They'd rather burn the galaxy than lose control of it." Jake looked up from his work on a new device. "Then we'll just have to stop them before they finish building it." General Rodriguez nodded, already planning their next move. "Send word to all Alliance ships. We're going to take the fight to their home system. As the message went out, the freed species of the galaxy prepared for the biggest battle yet. The Xeraxians were about to learn that when you threaten everything, you unite everyone against you. And at the head of this united force flew the ships of Earth, leading the charge just as they had led the rebellion. Because that's what humans did. They never stopped fighting for what was right. And they never, ever surrendered. The Xeraxian home system burned with the light of 3 artificial suns. Their final solution was almost complete. A network of star-killing weapons that could destroy any system that resisted their rule. Aboard the Defiance, General Rodriguez watched the massive fleet gathering around Earth. Ships from 100 freed worlds had answered humanity's call. The largest armada ever seen in the galaxy prepared for the final battle. The Xeraxians have fortified their entire system, Sarah Chen reported, showing the latest scans. They built defense rings around every planet. Their remaining fleets are all there. Jake Wilson hadn't slept in 3 days, working on their last hope for victory. The Starkiller weapons used the same basic principles as their old quantum cores, he explained. If we can get close enough, we might be able to turn them against the Xeraxians themselves. Dr. Martinez looked worried. But to get that close, we'd have to get past their entire fleet. It would be suicide. Not if we give them something bigger to worry about, General Rodriguez said. She turned to the holographic representatives of their alien allies. Is everyone ready? The crystalline ships would lead the first wave, their natural ability to absorb energy making them perfect for the initial assault. The Floran living ships would follow, using their regenerative powers to protect the main fleet. The Geodian geometric vessels would provide cover with their advanced shield technology. And at the center of it all, Earth's ships carried the weapon that Jake had designed. A device that could redirect the power of the Xeraxians' own Starkillers. The battle began with a flash that lit up half the galaxy. The Xeraxian defenses opened fire the moment the Alliance fleet appeared from Fold space. Energy beams crisscrossed the void, turning space itself into a web of light. All ships, execute Formation Delta, General Rodriguez commanded. The fleet split into 5 groups, just as they had practiced. Each group targeted a different defense ring, spreading the Xeraxian forces thin. The crystalline ships absorbed the first wave of attacks, using the energy to power their own weapons. The Floran vessels released clouds of living spores that consumed Xeraxian missiles. Geodian shields flickered but held against the onslaught. On the Defiance's bridge, Sarah monitored the battle. Their outer defenses are falling. But she paused, her face pale. They're powering up the Starkillers. Perfect, Jake said, his fingers flying over his control panel. That's exactly what we wanted them to do. The Xeraxian weapons began to glow, drawing power from their artificial suns. But Jake's device was ready. When the Starkillers fired, their energy would be redirected back into their own system. All ships, fall back, General Rodriguez ordered. Get clear of the blast zone. The Xeraxian Supreme Commander appeared on their screens. You cannot defeat us. We will destroy everything before we surrender. You still don't understand, Rodriguez replied. This isn't about destruction. It's about freedom. The Starkillers fired. For a moment, it seemed like the entire galaxy held its breath. Then Jake activated his device. The energy meant to destroy whole solar systems twisted back on itself. The artificial suns flickered and died. The massive weapon platforms crumbled. And in the sudden darkness, the Alliance fleet struck. Their defenses are down, Sarah shouted. The feedback loop worked. The Xeraxian fleets, their power sources disrupted, found themselves facing an enemy they couldn't beat, one that fought not for conquest, but for liberation. All ships, General Rodriguez commanded, execute final attack pattern. Remember, we take prisoners. We're not like them. The battle that followed was short but fierce. Without their superweapons and power network, the Xeraxians found themselves outmatched by the very species they had once enslaved. As the last Xeraxian ship surrendered, Cheers erupted across the Alliance fleet. Centuries of tyranny had ended in a single day. "We did it," Jake said quietly, looking at the screens showing celebrating crews from 100 different worlds. "We really did it." "No," General Rodriguez corrected him. "We all did it. Together. Because that's the real strength they never understood. Unity in the face of tyranny." 1 year after the fall of the Xeraxian Empire, the galaxy had changed forever. On Earth, gleaming spaceports reached into the sky, launching ships filled with human explorers and traders. The planet had become the heart of something unprecedented. A galaxy united not by force, but by choice. General Maria Rodriguez stood at the window of the new Galaxy Council chamber, built on neutral ground on Earth's moon. Below her, ships from 100 different species arrived for the historic first meeting of the Galactic Alliance. "Still hard to believe sometimes, isn't it?" Sarah Chen asked, joining her at the window. Now the head of Earth's Xenoscience division, she had been key in helping different species understand each other. That we went from almost being conquered to helping leave the galaxy. "Yeah, sometimes," Rodriguez smiled. She turned as Jake Wilson entered the room, carrying his latest invention. At 19, Jake had become the youngest ever head of the Alliance's technology exchange program. "The Universal Translator is ready," he announced. "Now every species can communicate directly, without any misunderstandings." Dr. Martinez arrived next, carrying ancient-looking data crystals. "Look what we found in the old Xeraxian archives," he said excitedly. "Star maps showing thousands of unexplored systems. There's so much more out there to discover." The council chamber filled with representatives from across the galaxy. The crystalline beings sparkled in the earthlight coming through the windows. Floran delegates spread a gentle aroma of peace and friendship. Geodian representatives hummed with quiet energy. Even the Void Collective, no longer feared, sent their delegates. And in a special section, closely guarded but treated with respect, sat the Xeraxian representatives. Their empire was gone, but they had been offered a chance to join the Alliance as equals, a chance to learn a better way. "The galaxy stands at a crossroads." Rodriguez began her opening speech. "A year ago, we fought together for freedom. Today, we meet to build something greater. A future where all species work together, where we explore and grow together." Sarah presented the scientific cooperation treaties, showing how sharing knowledge had already led to incredible breakthroughs. Jake demonstrated technologies that combined the best aspects of different species innovations. Dr. Martinez revealed the maps of unexplored space, promising adventures that would unite them all. "But we face challenges too," Rodriguez continued. "There are still pirates in the outer systems, unknown dangers in unexplored space, and the temptation to return to old ways of thinking. That's why we're here, to face these challenges together." The first vote was unanimous. The Galactic Alliance was officially formed, with Earth as one of its founding members. Not because humans were stronger or smarter, but because they had shown that unity was stronger than fear. A Xeraxian delegate stood up. "We spent thousands of years trying to control the galaxy through force," she said. "You showed us a better way in less than 2 years. We have much to learn from humans." "We all have much to learn from each other," Rodriguez replied. "That's the point. Every species has something unique to offer. Together, we're stronger than we ever could be alone." As the council session ended, the 4 friends gathered on the observation deck. Below them, Earth shone like a jewel. Above, the stars beckoned with endless possibilities. "So what's next?" Jake asked, already thinking about new inventions. "There are reports of strange signals from the galactic core," Sarah said. "Something nobody's ever seen before. And rumors of another empire rising in the far reaches," Rodriguez added. "We'll need to investigate both." Together, Martinez smiled. Always together. As they watched, a fleet of ships took off from Earth, carrying mixed crews of humans and aliens. They were explorers now, seeking new worlds and new friends among the stars. And if they found dangers instead, they would face them the same way they had faced the Xeraxians. Because that was the legacy of Earth, the planet that had taught the galaxy its most important lesson. Never surrender to tyranny, never stop exploring, and never underestimate the power of unity. The species that never surrendered had become the species that showed the way forward into a brighter future for all.